Hi. So we have recently been discussing the Sutra 6194, Engi Pararupam, which introduced the idea of Pararupa as an Ekadesha. Pararupa as an Ekadesha, so that the two letters, the preceding and following, are replaced by pararupam, which is the one that has the form of the following letter. So engi pararupam. And then we had a straightforward vartika, eve chaniyoge, eve chaniyoge. Now we are beginning a series of special vartikas that are interesting in a variety of ways, including the way they are presented, which is less orthodox. And I'll start with approximately the way Prabhakar Shastri presented them to me, and we can go from there. So you can see on the top here, I have put Ganavartika. That stands for Ganavartika. Now, this in itself is not how Shastri presented it. He presented this as a Vartika, which is, it makes sense. This is actually itself the Vartika which creates a Ganavartika. Just as Puvadayo Dadavaha use the concept of the bhu, etc., Gana to define dhatu, bhuvadayo dhatavaha. So bhu, etc. Now the bhu gana is, or the dhatu gana is explicit and completely clear and defined. There's no wiggle room on it. So bhuvadayo dhatavaha is straightforward. Here we're entering a slightly different territory. So this Vartika, Shakandvadishu Pararupam Vachyam, Shakandvadishu Pararupam Vachyam, Shakandu Adishu, just like Bhuvadishu, Shakandu Adishu Pararupam Vachyam. Pararupa is to be enjoined in the case of Shakandu, etc. Okay, that sounds pretty straightforward, except that this is a very special kind of gana. It's called an akriti gana, akriti, not complete, incomplete gana. Very different than bhuvadi. Bhuvadi is a ironclad list. Shakandvadi is not. And what does that mean, that it's akriti? It means that we are told to consider that if we come across sandhis in these little compounds and so on, that bear a resemblance to Shakandvadi, to Shakandu, and etc., that are the examples that we're going to see now, then we should assume that they are grammatical as they're given, and that this rule, they fall into this gana, which is cool. I mean, it gives this whole domain of openness in the grammar, where things that are not specifically enumerated can be taken as grammatical, and this is why. Now, there's another level at which this becomes very interesting to me, or at least, yes, it's interesting, which is that according to both Prabhakar Shastri and Bhattoji Dikshita, this pararupa under Shakandvadishu Pararupam Vachyam comes in place of the following ach and the preceding t. The following ach and the preceding t. And you'll remember achontyadi t. So T is the one that begins with the last vowel, last ach in an utterance. So if you have Shikandu, well, this is not, in Shikandu, it's not actually an issue because it's just the vowel. But Shikandu itself is an example. So Shikandu is a combination of Shaka, which is the name of a tribe, and Undu, which is a well. So the Pararupa, which is comes in place of both the preceding and following and you get Shikandu, the well of the Shaka, the well of the Shaka. But you will see, we'll go through some more examples and then we'll see where this T thing fits in, and a word or two about why I find it intriguing. So similar to Shikandu, we have Karaka Undu, which is Karakandu, or the well of the Karakas, the well of the Karakas. Then we have Kula Ata. Now, we've come across this concept recently. I don't remember exactly where, but it seems to have a sort of pull for early grammarians. So we have Kula Ata. So a house, Kula, and Ata, wanderer. Kula Ta, which is, again, preceding and following replaced by the single Pararupam Kula Ta is an unchaste woman. Yep, there you go. The house wanderer. Then we have Hala and Isha. Hala plow Isha, Halisha, the pole of a plow, and also Langala Isha, also the pole of a plow, Langalisha. I'm imagining that these plow poles have a lot more significance than I'm offhand aware of. Now, this I find interesting. So far, all of these examples are don't have anything to do with T. They're just straightforward. The last letter is an ach of all of them, and they're replaced by the Pararupa, which has also been an ach. So here we get to Manas Isha, Manisha, Manisha. So here we have the T of Manas, which is us, and the E of Isha, both being replaced by the Pararupam of E. So we get Manas plus Isha, Manisha. And this is the one that you'll see. So there we have patat. So in patat, ut is the T of patat. Ut is the T of patat. And then Anjali, so patat is falling, vipratak. So, and then there's Anjalihi, a salutation or anointment, an honoring, a falling salutation. I think can be taken different ways, but I think it's a bowing, honoring of someone of great esteem. And so if we take patat and followed by Anjalihi, then the ut, which is the T of patat, and the of Anjali are both replaced by the Pararupa So then we get Patanjali. well, and this is the reason I find this interesting, or a particular part of the reason I find it interesting, is that Batoji has moved the sutra for Achontyadi T all the way to Engi Pararupam, to follow Engi Pararupam, which is a long way away. And by doing that, he creates a context for Achontyadi T, for T to be incorporated into Engi Pararupam, and therefore all of the following Vartikas and so on. And this seems like it seems like a little bit of a stretch. It seems that it's very important to Patoji to do this. And my imagination is because of the second and final example here, Patat Anjalihi, Patanjali. We have to have Patanjali be grammatical. So we are making this Pararupa rule apply to T, even though I don't know that there are a lot of other examples. So I'm wondering about this. I'm wondering, before I caught on to Batoji's choice, I'm wondering, because we spend so much time with Anuvritti and so on, I'm wondering, okay, Prabhakar Shastri says this applies to T, but where did that T come from? It's not an Anuvritti or an Adhyahara or something that I can see. And so I went and I thought, well, let's look. So I looked at Mahabhashya, and as far as I can tell, the real Patanjali has nothing to say at all about Achontyadi D. I might have missed it in some extended conversation, but it is not one of the sutras that he discusses. And even if you look at his discussion of one of my other faves, Vakyasya Tehe Pluta Udataha, Vakyasya Tehe Pluta Udataha, he just treats T as an obvious form and doesn't feel that he needs to say anything more about it. And under Engi Pararupam, he does list a number of these examples that we have here. If there's interest, I could enumerate them in notes. And that's all he feels he needs to do. He's just saying, okay, these are there too. So by implication, there is an Akriti Gana here. So there you go. And next time we will have a few more of these members of the Shakandvadi Gana, the Akriti Gana. And as I keep saying, I find some of them very appealing. Take care. Thank you.